12 things every woman needs, according to Marilyn Monroe. There is so much more to Marilyn Monroe than she was ever known for during her years of stardom. During her life, a lot of women were generally categorized into one of two roles, either housewife or sex kitten. From her autobiography and diary entries, we've learned that she actively challenged those boundaries. Hundreds of articles have been written about Norma Jean Baker, aka Marilyn Monroe. During her tragically short life, she left a cultural mark, including her look, which has gone on to become one of the most influential women in Hollywood history. Everything she did and exuded was down to her persistence and a remarkably strong sense of self despite how people saw her. Let's cut the intro short. Here are 12 things every woman needs, according to Marilyn Monroe. Number 1. A pair of good shoes. First things first, every woman needs a pair of good shoes. Even better, you should have one for each different occasion. As she famously said, "Give a girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world." Monroe was known for her bold sense of style, and she knew exactly how to turn it into her own gain. She owned fantastic dresses and gowns, and all of this was mistakenly seen as trying to please others. Nope, it was never in her dictionary. She wore good things for herself. Number 2. A fantastic evening gown. Monroe famously stated that once she could afford an evening gown, she bought the loudest one she could find, a low-cut red. Monroe really knew how to capitalize on her femininity and sexuality. If we're going to talk about how she was hypersexualized most of her career, that's a valid and very much true observation, but being able to own your feminine power in a world that sees it as an inferior trait is something worth celebrating. It goes beyond acceptance and being comfortable with yourself. To put it in her own words, one of the best things that ever happened to me is that I'm a woman. That is the way all females should feel. A great evening gown can last for a long time. Marilyn Monroe knew this and made the best out of it. Make sure you find one that screams yourself best. Number 3. A choice of your own red lipstick. We've seen it many times. Monroe in her bold red lipstick. This adornment is just as iconic as her beauty spot and her blonde hair. Her makeup products were very particular. According to the Marilyn Monroe collection, the star used 3 personal beauty products from Erno Laszlo, Elizabeth Arden, and Helena Rubinstein, though there's no specific record of which red lipstick she chose for her daily drive. That being said, it's safe to say that as long as the lipstick works on you, you're good to go. The best advice on choosing the right red lipstick for you is to find the one that makes you feel good, and look good, of course. There's a veritable rainbow within red lipsticks alone. You can start by choosing what best fits your skin tone. Number 4. The Greta Garbo eye. There weren't as many makeup powerhouses as today back in the 50s, but when it comes to eye makeup, Monroe referenced Greta Garbo for her ultimate eye look. The silent screen actress was the first to use blended eyeshadows on the lids up to the brow bones, extending it to the inner corner to add more depth to the look. We think this is especially a useful trick if you have small eyes. Add a couple dabs of Vaseline or coconut oil to your eyelids to make them shiny. Monroe's makeup artist used to do this to perfect the look with a subtle, wet look finish. Number 5. Vaseline for your primer and highlighter. Speaking of Vaseline, the petroleum jelly may be too much of a trade for your Featherlight moisturizer, but this was always Monroe's base before she applied her foundation. Apart from its marvelous work as her ultimate moisturizer, it added a soft focus glow under the studio light, especially when it's combined with her signature peach fuzz. Alan Snyder, her makeup artist, also applied Vaseline on her cheek and brow bones. The sheen it produces screams glamorous at its best. Number 6. 4 shades of eyeliners. Monroe's makeup artist specifically used Elizabeth Arden's classic eye pencils. He used both the black and brown hue to reach a specific look. Snyder applied liner to her upper lids and waterlines. This is to extend the lash lines with wings to elongate. But the key to his trick follows as sketching a small triangle on the outer corner of the eye. To make Monroe's eyes to look bigger and wider, this is done between the top and lower liner wings. A dot of red liner in the inner corner and drawing the waterlines with white are the finishing touch to this look. Again, this is especially useful if you have smaller eyes. Number 7. 5 steps to contour lips. Yes, you heard it right. You need 5 different steps to create a naturally plumped out pout. It does sound like a lot of effort, but it will be worth it. First, create lines along your lips with a dark color pencil. This gives the illusion of depth. Next, apply your brightest red shade and then blend everything. Be careful not to mess up the lines you created, using short blending strokes to make it neat. The last 2 steps are highlighting and moisturizing. Using a brush or your fingertip, carefully press a cream highlighter to the middle part of your lips. Finally, to add moisture and wetness back to your look, use a rose lip balm. These 5 easy steps will create the ultimate red lips that look perfect for your special occasion. Number 8. Dry shampoo to the rescue! Dry shampoos in the 50s were not as convenient as today. Back in the day, Monroe would use baby powder to tame excessive oil on the scalp, and this was pretty much her routine since she would do it once every 2 days. Now that we have many choices of dry shampoo, you can ditch the baby powder and opt for something better and easier. Number 9. Personal library. Marilyn Monroe was consistently misunderstood and misjudged by the public eye. This is the truth she faced then and even still true to this day. Her personal library reflects so much more about who she was than the public's misperceptions. It contained over 400 books with various subjects from art, drama, biographies, politics, history, theology, to philosophy. If anything, we can learn that she was so much more than whom we thought she was, and having interests in anything you want to know should be celebrated and not shamed. There are so many ways to broaden our horizons of knowledge, and reading books is one of them. Monroe herself believed that, and it's a choice we can copy. Number 10. Interests to keep learning. In case you're not into reading, there are still other ways to keep learning. With the endless amount of information we have at our fingertips today, learning can be just as easy as scrolling through social media. Monroe took a literary class at UCLA, and from her library, diary entries, and poems, we can tell that she was hungry for knowledge. Her admiration for literary works from various writers is also important to note. While she used to play the stereotypical dumb blonde, in reality she was far from being a comical character. Given the overflowing access to information, it's important to be able to stay away from the harmful ones. Being critical of any information you get is crucial in handling the knowledge flood we have today. Number 11. List of things you don't need. Sometimes it's easier to figure out what you're not so sure about, rather than pondering on what you already positively know for sure. Monroe offered this nugget of advice: a girl doesn't need anyone who doesn't need her. This neat one-liner encompasses 2 important points: boundaries and respect for yourself. Once you acknowledge the things or people you don't need in your life, you can count on those who really matter to you. If visualizing a list of things you do not need is difficult, why not write it down? Jot down whatever things you don't need in your life. Naturally, you'll figure out what you need through this opposite list. Number 12. A space to keep your earliest memories. She took everything she was fond of from her earliest memories and put it in a large wooden trunk. Monroe told Ralph Roberts, a family friend and Monroe's personal masseuse, that everything packed in the trunk was simply her past. If anything, this has taught us about the importance of bringing good memories of the past as we go through life, something that will always remind us of the things we used to love when we were little and tie them close to our hearts. You are so much more than people think you are. Whether it's a lavish evening gown, a pair of good shoes, or anything you put on your face, all should be there for you, not anyone else. Marilyn Monroe believed this, and it drove her to thrive in an industry where she was looked down upon. There were, and still are, skewed views on Marilyn Monroe. Nevertheless, from pushing boundaries, believing in equal opportunities, respectful working conditions, artistic freedom, to unapologetically being a woman, she's surely one of the greatest women who ever lived. To this day, her values, strength, and intelligence are still greatly celebrated and honored. For us, we can honor her by simply keeping her ideas alive.